Hello all, is all here, back with another video. Today we're spotlighting Scarab the Rhino Beetle. Going to go through the best runes for early, mid and late game. We're just going to quickly discuss his attack. So he grants defense 2 as a buff on himself, which gives him 50% extra defense, and also fortification. Now fortification is a unique buff only Scarab can have. Bit about it, it cannot be removed, so Artemil or Steel does not take this buff off of him. So it does make Scarab unable to use his basic attacks. However, he does replenish 7% of his HP back to himself, and with a fixed chance he casts dots to the enemy monsters whenever they attack him. Now also this buff disappears or finishes when Scarab reaches full health. So now that we know his unique ability, let's move on to early game. So now into early game with Scarab then. The rune that you want to have is the energy rune, as he is a tanky defense monster. You want to make sure you have that bit much more health so he can survive longer on the field. So early game, energy rune is the one that you want. Okay, so now swinging into mid game, you've unlocked the majority of the runes. I would now switch from energy to the guard rune, because this has hand in hand with his defensive nature as a monster. This gives you 15% extra defense, and also this helps him with his attack because he gains himself an extra 50% defense on his base stat. So the more defense you have, the more extra bonus he gets when he moves his attack. So guard is what you want. Hopefully by now mid game you will have his green stone at least. This gives him defense up buff an extra 6 seconds, so he's got his defense buff for longer. And if you are extremely lucky at this point mid game to have his purple, this increases his resistance by 35%. Now that I still think personally the green is better, because I'd rather have the defense last a little bit longer. So I would stick with the green stone. So moving on to late game. Okay, so now switching into the late game. So on here I would still keep the guard rune on him. I would now just upgrade him to legendary runes. I would also try and max out the bottom left, because this gives him an extra 32% defense on there. So that was what I'll do on the first runes. The second runes depends on your play style, but I would generally go for will, because it just gives you that immunity, so whenever you use your attack you can't be stunned at first instance to stop you getting off your attack. However, secondary Swift would be my next one, but guard and will would be the two stones I would say. If you are into late game, now hopefully that you've got his legendary stone if you are lucky. I am not one of those lucky ones as of yet, but his legendary stone is his best stone. Now what this does is the continuous dots from fortification is increased by a second, so they now get 3 ticks instead of 2, and also grants him defense level 3, which now gives him an extra 75% damage on top of his base. So his legendary stone is the best one. If you're lucky enough, I'm jealous to have it, that is the one you want to put on him. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning, but Scarab is the 3rd highest defense character in the game, but having these buffs I would say when he uses it and has these buffs, he is the most tankiest person in the game, hands down. And when he throws out his dots, he's a very hard one to counter against. So that's Scarab, Rhino Beetle, hashtag the tank. He is one of the best tank characters in the game. So now you know which the best early, mid and late runes are for Scarab. You know his stones, and you know what his fortification unique spell does. I hope you've enjoyed this. Leave a like and below with the different runes that you use, or you agree or disagree with me. I'm carrying on doing the rest of these rune guide videos, so come along for the ride and subscribe. Thank you very much.